Welcome to this class. My name is Emmanuel Agustino. We in the legal practice sector, we tend to share knowledge through what we call continuing legal education. And today I have been asked to organize a seminar on entrepreneurship. Entrepreneurship. Entrepreneurship is the road to success in whatever you do. It's the only road to success. So I'm trying to share this knowledge that I have about entrepreneurship with my colleagues in the legal practice field. Now, before we go any further, let us look at the meaning of this word, entrepreneurship. The word entrepreneurship. What does it mean? What does it mean? Okay, I have gone outside there. Here in Dar es Salaam, we have so many entrepreneurs, people who engage in various businesses. And we went out to find out whether they understand what the word entrepreneurship means. Take a look.
Ni biashara ndogo ndogo machinga. Hii ni najua tu kama si unafanya biashara ndogo ndogo, lakini sio wajasiriamali, kwa sababu wajasiriamali tunavyosikia kwa sauti nyingine inasemekana ni wale ambao wana mitaji mikubwa.
Ujasiriamali ninavyofahamu mimi ni mfanyabiashara ndogo ndogo, iwe ni mamalishe, iwe ni biashara ya karanga, huo ni ujasiriamali. Iwe anatengeneza sabuni, huo ni ujasiriamali. Ndivyo na
ujasiriamali ni biashara ambayo mtu anaweza akafanya kwa kujiajiri mwenyewe ili kujipatia kipato yeye mwenyewe bila kuajiriwa na mtu yoyote.
I think you have listened to them. Now let us see what they have to say. The first one talked about small businesses, wamachinga. That whoever is involved in small businesses out there, the hawkers, the machingas, everybody, then they are all entrepreneurs. That is his concept of entrepreneurship. Then, as we have heard, another one is talking about big businesses. That he is not an entrepreneur because he's just a small trader. In order to be an entrepreneur, you have to have big businesses. You must be operating a big business. So he is not. But maybe when he grows, he will make a transition or he will evolve into an entrepreneur. And the last one, as we heard, talks about operating independently. That every startup can be categorized as entrepreneurship. She says that, well, if you have a small business, you are saying this, you are saying that, and you are independent, you are not employed, then you are an entrepreneur. Well, basically, they are all right. I think they are right. Yeah, this one talks about a small business. In order to be an entrepreneur, you have to start from somewhere. In our field of legal practice, you have to start. You have to take a step. You have to take a step. But doesn't mean that taking a step and opening up a startup, then automatically you are an entrepreneur, as we will see later. Then a big business, obviously, big business means success, long-term vision that ultimately one has to grow, Maybe he has a point. And then finally, operating independently. I have liked that, yeah. But not all people who operate independently have their own small businesses are all entrepreneurs. I don't know. I don't think so. Therefore, that is the definition according to the people we found on the streets here in Dar es Salaam, doing their business, saying this, saying that. Now, let us see what philosophers have to say. As we have heard, there is no single definition of entrepreneurship. People perceive it differently. And therefore, also, authors or those who have written extensively about it also have different views of what entrepreneurship is. Well, unfortunately, here in Tanzania, well, we have not advanced, we haven't made, there isn't a lot of work that has been published on entrepreneurship. Okay, some work is there. But look at what philosophers or authors have to say from outside, those who wrote about entrepreneurship a long time ago. We have somebody called Schumpeter. Schumpeter says that the central point of his whole life work is that capitalism can only be understood as an evolutionary process of continuous innovation. Schumpeter talks about innovation, that there is an aspect of innovation in entrepreneurship. Then we have others as well. We have Scott Shane. Scott Shane says that entrepreneurship has to go through certain phases. The first phase talks about idea. The second phase is about assembling resources. The third phase is launching the venture. You launch the venture. Then the fourth phase is building success. Building success. Yes, Scott Shane says that entrepreneurship is all about first conceptualizing an idea, come up with an idea. If you can't think, you wake up and go about your business without sitting down and imagine. It's all about imagination. Then you are nowhere near being an entrepreneur. Then assembling resources. Resources also are the key for any startup. If you want to be an entrepreneur, assembling resources. How do you start? You need a kind of capital. Then you launch the venture. You start now. You have to start. You have to start. An entrepreneur is somebody who is ready to start. Your ideas should not remain stuck into your head. That I will build a castle in there. I will hire an office space in that and that building. I will assemble a team of colleagues and we found a law firm and so on. Those just remain ideas until they are put into practice. So launch the venture, my friend. Is somebody who is ready, an entrepreneur is somebody who is ready to launch, to take a plunge into the river. Launch that venture. And then finally build success. You don't launch and then sit back. And then sit back and relax and tell people that I have an office somewhere in town and I practice law. Well, you have launched the law practice venture. But what are you doing to build success? So an entrepreneur has to move through these stages according to Shane. Then finally, we are going to look at what somebody called Michael Porter has to say. And this person, Michael Porter, who taught at Harvard University, actually has come up with a very impressive definition of what entrepreneurship is. Well, Mr. Porter simply said entrepreneurship is about creating value. It's all about value creation. You don't sell crap, whether you're an entrepreneur. Only Coca-Cola, I think, sells crap. Because they take carbon dioxide, some water, some color, and then they promote and everybody buys Coca-Cola. Fine. But you don't sell crap. And entrepreneurship is all about value creation. Now, how, according to this man called Michael Porter? Well, you begin with the idea, the concept. The goal. The goal. You have to have the goal. Okay? The goal. The goal. What is your goal? If you don't have a goal, then you don't know where you are going. And if you don't know where you are going, you won't reach there where you imagine that you are going. So you have to have that goal. Then Mr. Potter goes ahead and says, recognize opportunity. Recognize opportunity. Okay. Recognize opportunity. An entrepreneur is somebody capable of recognizing where an opportunity is. What is the opportunity? For instance, we are now talking to advocates. You graduate from the law school, you are admitted by the Honorable Chief Justice, and then you are there. You have to know where the opportunity lies, where the opportunity is. Okay? If I go to my village, are there any opportunities, or I have to sit in Dar es Salaam with so many others and fight for a few opportunities that are available? You have to know where opportunities lie, where they are, according to Mr. Potter. Then we go ahead, and he said, find resources. Find resources. Once you have the right idea, you have identified the opportunity, then I think the resources are easy to find. How are you going to find resources? Are you going to your rich dad and say, Dad, I'm a full-fledged advocate, and I want to have my own venture. Can you kindly support me? Then your rich dad will dip his hands into his pocket and splash millions into your face. Go and set up an office in town, a fancy office in town. Fine. If you are given that money by your dad, but you are not an entrepreneur, then that money will only last for 1 year. You will hire an office space, operate for 1 year, then after 1 year the rent is used up and you have not made any money, and then you remove your fancy furniture and go out, and that's what has been happening with some advocates. Then Mr. Potter says, after finding resources now from your rich dad or from wherever, you develop a venture. Develop a venture. You develop a venture. What is a venture? A venture is that business that you have decided to set up. In our case, a legal practice. You set up a legal practice. Okay? So you have come through these processes, and now you are ready to get going. You set up a venture, if you have what it takes to do so. And finally, Mr. Potter says the final part of the whole process is create value. Create value, a wonderful word. Create value. You have the idea, brilliant idea, Mr. Advocate, or Miss Advocate, that I want to have my own office in town. Fine, it's a brilliant idea. You tell your friends about it. You discuss it with your family. Then you recognize the opportunity. You think that, well, there is an opportunity somewhere. There is an opportunity somewhere. Which opportunity? If I target a certain group of people, or if I focus my practice onto this direction, then the opportunity exists there. Then you mobilize the resources, the needed resources. Where? From where? From your dad, if your dad is rich. From your friends. You sell your valuable items, but you raise capital. That's what we mean when we say you mobilize resources. Then you develop a venture. Now you come to town to a good building, PPF Tower, Diamond Jubilee Tower. You buy nice Chinese furniture. When they come in, they say, "Oh, Mr. Advocate, you're a great guy. Look at your furniture. Look at your setup. Oh, beautiful. You have a nice looking secretary. You have good partners. They are all dressed smartly." And they say, "Oh, this Mr. Advocate is ready to start." Well, now we have to move to venture, right? Now, finally, work towards creating the value. If you don't create the value, then all these are what? Are worthless, are short-lived, according to Mr. Potter. They're short-lived. And I will ask you, how many of you have had a startup, and after 1 year, this startup is gone? It's gone because you cannot afford paying rent, sustaining rent payment. You cannot afford even sustaining yourself. You are unable to go to court, to drive to court. You are unable to do basic things that will keep you in town. Yeah? Then you say, I'm now winding up. I'm going to be operating from home. My friend, that's failure. Or I'm going to seek employment. You see, I'm starving. Things are not going. I'm going to give up on my private practice and then go into employment seeking. So you are now giving up on entrepreneurship, now going out to seek employment. Then you have failed. Do you know why you have failed? It's because whatever you started lacked value. The key is value. The key is value. Now let us look at this wonderful word called value creation. An entrepreneur has to go through all these processes. And the ultimate is to create value. What is value? What is value? What is value? Is you, Mr. Entrepreneur or Mrs. Entrepreneur, you have to eventually create value. Now let us look at this wonderful word, value. What does value creation mean? Well, value sells. Value sells. Value is everything. Value is everything. What value do you have? What value are you going to offer in return for money, for whatever you want? Here in this country, I think we have got people who have recognized their value, packaged their values, and sold that value. And in return, oh my friend, we have this guy called Diamond. Diamond, the most recognizable musician in this country, and in Africa actually. Diamond, I don't know whether he went to school. I think he went to school, but I have never heard anybody saying I went to school with Diamond. And if he went to school, maybe he went to Mchikichini Primary School, not to that fancy school. But Diamond is an entrepreneur. He's an entrepreneur. And you'll hear that, well, there's this guy who went to learn music at university, but he's not as successful as Diamond, the guy from Chikichini. But this guy from Chikichini knows his value. He created value and sold the value. He created value and sold value. He's an entrepreneur. Do you know what he's worth? I think I heard him talking on WhatsApp TV, saying that he earns, I don't know, 200 million per month, something like that. I will find out. And then per second, he earns some good amount of money that some of you are unable to earn per month. You guy from university who went to law school, who is practicing law, wearing a nice coat like I'm wearing now, you are unable to earn what Mr. Diamond earns just in 1 second. Why? It's because Mr. Diamond is an entrepreneur, a natural-born entrepreneur, because he never went to school to study entrepreneurship, I believe. Now, how do you create value? How do you create value. Now we are going to look at how value is created. Value is subjective. As experienced entrepreneurs know, because they often learn it hard way, a business success depends ultimately on whether customers value what you offer. Customer to value what you offer. As I said, music customers value what Diamond offers. Now, do your customers value what you offer? That's very important. That's very important. Customers to value what you offer. And in order for them to value what you offer, you have to create that value on your product, on the product that you are trying to offer to the general public. In our case, of course, our product is legal services. Is your legal service valuable? Does it have a value? Does it have value? Have you created value for your legal services? Okay? Value. The value is the key. If your legal services are your means of production, then do they have value? Do they have any value, your services? Now, value creation also can be done on an individual. How? Diamond has added value onto his music product, so he earns a lot of money per second. And you as an individual, if it's you, being you, makes you earn money, then have you added value onto yourself? Maybe I have seen some guys adding value to themselves. For instance, you graduate, you have all the wonderful certificates, but do you have you enhanced your career by attending some trainings, by acquiring some useful skills, the skills that are useful in the market, so that your value could be enhanced? Have you added value to yourself? Have you created value? That's very important. Once you have created that value, it's not the end by itself. You benefit from serving customers. You receive some rewards. You receive some rewards. As I have given you an example of Mr. Diamond, he's immensely rich. How? He created value, and then he sold value. In return, he's earning like hell. Yeah? It's the same applies to you. So once you package your services and then you give them value, then you are going to earn. You are going to earn. Then you have your competitive advantage. Competitive advantage is value. Your competitive advantage is value. Today, we are over 10,000 practitioners in the field of legal practice. Over 10,000. In the past, there were few. But we are still few, of course, because given the country of over 50 million people, opportunities still exist out there. But then if you are not an entrepreneur, you cannot actually recognize or identify those opportunities. Now, competitive advantage is value. How are you going to be competitive in the market? Value will make a difference. If everyone offers legal services in the same way, same style, same package, same everything, then you don't have a competitive, you have not created a competitive edge. You are like anybody else. But others are already in the market for so many years. And you come and you want to operate like how they operate. Are you going to make it? Do you think they are going, their customers will abandon them, and you come to this new person who is doing the same thing? Albert Einstein once said that doing insanity means doing the same thing over and over, expecting the different results. So your competitive advantage is value. If you add value to what you are doing, then you're going to be competitive and you're going to win the market, Mr. Entrepreneur. And finally, how do you create value? How do you create that value? You don't work, things don't happen as they did in the, I think, in the book of Genesis, in the Bible. Almighty God would wake up and say, let there be earth and the earth will be there. Let there be oceans and the oceans will be there. You don't wake up and say, let there be value on my practice and then the value is there. No, you have to create it. You have to create it. If you remain it, you have mens rea about it. You have the mens rea that it is important to create value, but it remains mens rea without rectus reus, without any action being done. Then it will just remain an idea. Now, you create value by being innovative. Being innovative, being creative. Be resilient. Now, if you are innovative, it means that you're going to come up with ways, new ways. For instance, here, how can you be innovative in the field of legal practice? How? We have technology. How are you using technology to reach your clients, to win new clients? How? Technology is evolving. Are you still stuck in the past? How? How can you be innovative? It's up to you. How can you be innovative? If you are still using the old ways and you want to compete with all the people who have been there for so many years, then they will beat you at your own game. Be creative. What creativity are you bringing to the legal practice? What creativity? You go to bed waking up wanting to operate as usual. Then you want different results. Will that work? No. Be resilient. Stay the course. You start up today, and then money doesn't come within 2 days, 1 week. Then you say, no, I think things are falling apart. I have to jump ship. If you jump ship at that stage of entrepreneurship, then you will drown actually. You will drown. You're not an entrepreneur. You're going to drown. Now these tools for innovation are called general enterprising tendencies. Get general enterprising tendencies. You have to embody some of these general enterprising tendencies in order as tools for now being innovative, as tools for doing what we have explained in this seminar. General enterprising tendencies. What are those? They include, of course, being creative, being resilient, being innovative, being able to spot and recognize that an opportunity exists somewhere. Being able to notice an opportunity and capitalize, take advantage of that opportunity. Being able to take a risk, to take a risk. This is the key, a calculated risk. Because when you go and immobilize the funds, I have given an example that you can go to your rich dad and get free cash. But sometimes that cash is not free. It is your cash, your savings. And you want to burn it, to spend it in a venture that that you are not aware of how it will work out and turn out. So you take a calculated risk. But what I can say is, a risk, once an entrepreneur takes a risk, the risk is calculated. The risk will not result into ruining your financial situation because you are an entrepreneur. But if you are not an entrepreneur, and then you take that risk, the risk will be real. The risk will be real. You will return with nothing. So an entrepreneur usually is somebody who is ready and who is capable of taking calculated risk, and who wants to be independent. Yes, and who have that kind of attitude of win attitude, never quit attitude. Those are general enterprising tendencies that can work as tools for now driving your innovative work to another level. I hope this seminar has been useful to you, my colleague. And actually, I came here to give this lecture because when I was already an advocate, I went back to school. I didn't know that I was an entrepreneur. So in the course of learning, my professor came and asked me what I was doing and how I was doing it and how I was relating with my clients. And then she concluded that I was an entrepreneur. Of which stage, I don't know. So I'm kind of an entrepreneur, and I was here to share with you these tips. These tips, they're very useful, and I have said entrepreneurship is the road to success. Entrepreneurship is the road to success. And as I have said, we have seen here, entrepreneurship is not all about waking up, go and open an office somewhere in town. That's not being an entrepreneur. Entrepreneurship is not about selling goods on the street like we have heard from those Machinga. That's not entrepreneurship. Entrepreneurship is also not about doing just ordinary things that others are doing. Entrepreneurship is doing, as you have seen, but as you do, your product or what you do should have value. You create value. Now with that, I thank you for following us here on Channel 1. I thank Tanganyika Law Society for having invited me to share this experience with you. Till next time, thank you a lot. My name is Advocate Emmanuel Agustino.